Jekyll, Jekyll, hide, Jekyll, hide, hide, Jekyll. Jekyll, Jekyll, hide, Jekyll, hide. Jekyll, Jekyll, hide, Jekyll, hide, hide, Jekyll. Jekyll, Jekyll, hide, Jekyll, hide. That's actually the best thing I can honestly come up with in terms of Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, so fuck it, let's go. Yo, what's up guys, the Insane Gamefreak here to bring you Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan Season 1 review. The first 24 episodes, dubbed by Viz Media, streamed on Neon Alley. Be perfectly honest with you, the short version of this review, for those who don't want to stick around, boring as hell. Boring / mediocre. Like, that's the best way to describe Nura. And let me explain. Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan is once again another series taking the whole demon aspect of Japanese culture and applying it into the story. Our main character, Rikuro Nura, is a kid who goes through 3 or 4 different personality switches. What I mean by that is, if you read the manga, he changes his mind on what he feels about yokai like 3 or 4 times. Now, the premise of the story is that he's a part of the Nuraion family, which is like this essentially Japanese mafia Yakuza family, and it's like one of the most well-known families in Japan, and he is the 3rd heir. His grandfather being the 1st and his dad being the 2nd. His dad isn't even in the series, so we presume that he's dead. We do see his mom. Now here's the thing about Rikuro. His dad is demon, but his mom was human. Therefore, Rikuro is only a quarter demon, because his dad was, I think, half demon. It seems like the Nura family has a thing for getting with humans. I don't get it, but whatever. But here's the thing. Rikuro wants nothing to do with his demon heritage, even though it excludes the fact that he lives in this huge house that is crawling with demons that he's cool with. But he doesn't want anything to do with demons. He pretty much renounces the demon side of himself and tries to carry on life as a normal human. The whole point of the show, or at least the first 12 episodes are just trying to get him to become the 3rd heir. The other half is introducing a villain and him having to deal with that villain. Here's the problem with Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, the first season of it. They feed you this BS about Nura's, because the thing is, apparently during the night, which I guess starts at the beginning of this anime, he is the only time he can turn into his yokai self. Like, he can't turn to his yokai self at all during the day. So you obviously have a day Nura and a night Nura. Now the reason why I made the Jekyll and Hyde thing, because that's the closest relation is to it, because these two have 2 different personalities. Even though the anime would lie to you and tell you that these two, they're the same person, supposedly. Like, there is no mind switch. It's literally the same person. Nura knows everything he did in the night versus everything he did in the day. But the problem with this is that both of his sides contrast so badly with each other, you wouldn't buy that on any level. If you were to take scenes with his day self and scenes with his night self and showed them at 2 separate intervals without telling the person it's from the same anime, you could not tell that was the same character. Because they add nothing alike. They don't even share quirks. I mean, for God's sakes, his demon self is like 2 feet taller than his day self. They do the whole thing where the demon half is actually, which is apparently supposed to be the obviously cooler version of himself, because his voice gets deeper. He like gets really cool and chill. Like, Rikuro is supposed to be the stereotypical nice guy, whereas his yokai self is, I don't know what the hell to call him. He's just cool looking, and he just looks cool. And what kills me about the show, to be perfectly honest, is like the first half is internal fighting to get Rikuro to man up, but the problem is that it feels half-assed, because when you're introduced to his yokai self is constantly talking about how he's going to become the 3rd heir, but his day self is still talking about not becoming the 3rd heir. But you want me to believe that these 2 characters, these two sides of himself is the same person? Then why is it that they're contradicting themselves? Who does that? It's like, if they don't have a mind switch and there's not a personality switch, then why are they contradicting each other? On top of that, there are a few moments in the series where they have conversations with each other, like internal conversations. It's like when Rigo's talking to his night self, and I'm like, wait a minute, if you're the same person, don't BS me and tell me you're the same person, because if you are, why is it that like it doesn't make sense how how his personality is, and how he in his night self wants to do things that his day self wouldn't do. And the other problem with this series is the fact that half of the characters are boring as hell, including Nura. I don't even think I have a favorite character in this series. I think the obligatory answer would be Nura, because he's the one who gets the most time. But it's not because he's a cool character. To me, the biggest problem with Nura is that Nura doesn't get the basic fundamental thing right. Giving your main character situations that prove what type of character he is. They give him the stereotypical situations, but we don't get to see any of Rikuro or his night form's morals. It's just kind of like the only thing I really gathered by the end of the season was like Rikuro cares about his friends. That's about it. He cares about his friends. They have him. It's ridiculous. It's just straight out ridiculous. And I think the reason why it feels that way is because they separate like half of the first 12 episodes, focusing on this Yuki side story, which, to be perfectly honest, wasn't really necessary, because you kind of the characters suffered from it. And that's not just saying Nura. I mean, the side characters aren't that interesting either. Like his human friends and his BS love interests. I say BS because there's really no romantic issue, and they do the same stereotypical thing of, oh, the demon form is what captivates the girl, but you know, she kind of just indifferent or nice to the day form, or the light form, which is ridiculous. And plus, they don't really share that many moments together anyway. Even in his night form, it's retarded. And once again, they even have scenes where he thinks about what happened the night before with her, and it's like, but you were in control of that. Why are you getting embarrassed? You did it. Which, once again, contradicts the whole idea that they are the same person and that they share the same ideas, because they obviously don't. They don't even share the same personality. It's retarded. But the human characters, for one, I'm going to say this right now, the human characters have like some of the most uninteresting character designs I've ever seen. Like one of the characters they introduced, was her name? Nura, the Omnioji girl, looks like the dullest looking character I've ever seen in my life. It's retarded. Like, it's just, in the human characters, I think we have Kiyosugu, Shima, Kana, which is the love interest, Oikawa, who is Nura's demon love interest. She's like a demon that serves like directly under him, and she looks the most human, so she can pass as a human, and she's there to kind of bodyguard Nura during the day. And then there's these two other chicks who I honestly thought were filler, and apparently they're not, because they're still around even in the second season. I can't really understand what is so interesting about Nura Rise of Yokai. I don't understand why this series is so freaking popular. After watching the first season, the first half is boring. For the majority of it, it's just boring because we're just watching Nura do things. Also, something that also doesn't make sense is that Nura in his night form knows how to fight. But if it's the same body and person, Nura up until this point, at least from where the anime starts, the anime gives you the impression that Nura hasn't delved into fighting at all, nor yokai stuff. So why is he just coming out the gate knowing how to fight? It makes no sense. I'm not even, at this point in time, we don't even, by the end of the first season, we don't even know how the battle system works. It's just, apparently they just fight. Now the second half, I will admit, is more interesting, but that's because you gave us a villain, but the problem is you didn't set up the characters, so some of the situations the characters end up in, I don't really feel bad for, except for a few. Like, ironically, the two chicks that I told you I don't know the names of that are part of like the human friends, they have, well, one of them has like a side story, an episode or two dedicated to her. That was fine. That was fine, but like the other characters didn't get that. I think Kana got that. I think Kana and her are the only two characters that got that. And then they do some gags with Yura, which really aren't funny. And once again, they have Nura in those situations, and it's like I don't get to see any of his characters. There's even a point where he's fighting one of the minions who's like this wolf character who seems to have all these issues about how he wasn't accepted by humans, but he was accepted by demons. And he's sitting there yelling at Nura like, why is it that you're accepted by humans, you know? Why do you side with humans? You know better. Like, he's pretty much talking down to Nura. And Nura's response is just nothing. The dude doesn't say anything. I'm like, the talking during fights is what, you know, expands your character, especially since he didn't really get a setup, and he's still not doing anything. Even when you get down to the final fight between him and the main villain, which I believe his name is Tamazuki, I don't see any of Nura's character in it. Honestly, the way Nura beats him doesn't make sense either. It's just something that comes out of nowhere. I don't understand what was so interesting about this series, because the first season is just boring. Also, the other pain of it is that this anime has 2 recap episodes in the season. One in the middle and one at the end. And I'm just like, oh my god, why? And as if it's not like any of this stuff was interesting the first time. Giving us a short condensed version right after it ends, it's like, come on. It's like, how pretentious is the anime going to be? You think this stuff was so good that we want to see a recap of it? No, it wasn't that good. The reason why you're probably wondering, why did you even finish it? And why are you currently watching the second season? Honestly, because it doesn't do anything, it doesn't piss me off to the point, like, see, I watched it on a weekly basis on Neon Alley. But just watching it week by week, it doesn't get on your nerves. You're just kind of uninterested when you watch it. But when you recollect everything after watching, like, I can't see anyone marathoning this and enjoying it. It's not even, to me, it's not worth, I can tell you right now, it's not worth buying. It's probably one of the most uninteresting shonens I've read. Read/watched. I just don't, I personally cannot get into it. I do not see it. And the other thing, and I didn't mention, is the fact that the demon side of things, you know, his little small collection of demons are like the main ones, the ones you see the most. They all look like they have cool abilities and whatnot, and they do have like their character specific gags. Some of them do, like the chick with the hair who does the stereotypical, she's a young pretty lady, and if you call her old, she'll fucking try to kill you. Obviously Surara is also Oikawa. That's the 2 different names she goes by, like human name, demon name. Obviously has a crush on Nura thing. Some of the other ones are prevalent, but the problem is that they don't really get any development, and on top of which, when you get into the fights later on in the second half of them don't really get real fights. A lot of them just get like one-shot showings of their abilities, and then you kind of don't bother with it again. But because you didn't really give me time to get connected or attached to any of these characters, you kind of just ruin it. And it wasn't like this concept was hard. You could have easily mixed in some of the demon character development episodes with the human character development episodes, pushing the whole idea of humans and demons being together and shit. But no, you had to do all this fucking extra BS that didn't get us anywhere. And then half the villains weren't interesting. So it was just like, by the end of it all, I was just kind of like, yeah, meh. It's like, it sounds like I'm ranting, but it's not. This is just from remembering it all. Just watching it, it doesn't inherently annoy you. It inherently annoys. Well, no, it kind of inherently annoys you when you're watching it. I just don't think it was worth sitting down. I don't think it's that interesting. Even the second season still has that same problem. I don't know what kind of character Nura is. No joke. I have no idea what kind of character Nura is. The only thing I know is that he cares about his friends. That's it. That's all. That's the only trait he has. That anyone that you could honestly pick out for me. Because nothing else. Nothing else. He obviously doesn't care, in his night form anyway, about killing other demons. I don't know how he feels about killing humans. I don't know. Like, they don't expand on his character at all. I mean, even the second season has just been dealing with training. So I'm just like, what was so compelling about the series to even make it get a second season? Because apparently the Japanese like it. The American market, I haven't heard too much about. But this is just my opinion. I personally just don't even think it's really worth watching. That's just me. I mean, if you're bored and you want to try it out, that's fine. But I don't personally think it's worth watching. I definitely don't think it's worth buying. I don't understand. If people bought that, I don't understand why. I mean, but if you want to try it out, you want to buy it, I'll leave links in the descriptions in which you can do both. But me personally, after watching it, I'm so glad I didn't buy the DVDs for it or buy the Blu-rays blindly, because I would have been so disappointed. Jesus Christ. But I'll review the second season once I'm finished watching it. And I guess that should be a question to bring up. It's like, well, you are watching the second season, so it can't be horrible. As I said, it's not horrible, it's just boring to watch. It's boring and mediocre. The second season is a lot more interesting so far than the first season. But it still does that stupid thing where it introduces things that aren't really important. And then on top of which, it's still not really pushing the characters. It's just all about the dumbass actions that are going on, which half of which aren't interesting to look at anyway. But that's essentially my review of Nura the Yokai Clan Season 1. Just mediocre. Boring and mediocre. Like, that's the best way to put it. Like, if you want to rate it, I say it's okay. At the very best, it's okay. And I can't. That's all I can say. So, as I said, I'll leave links in the description to check it out, whether you want to buy it or watch it. I suggest watching it. And please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. This has been the Insane Gamefreak. Life's a game, play to win, and I'll catch you guys later. Jekyll, hi, Jekyll, hi, Jekyll. If you know where that's from, you get a digital cookie. Put it in the comment section below. I'm curious. Peace out.